Okay, I'm live. We're going to do a tobacco pipe today. Yay! Usually I do a lot of figurines, and a lot of people will attest to that fact. He says, yeah, you usually do figurines. What are you doing a bag about for? Well, hey, we all have to do something different sometimes. Hello, nice to see you out there watching. If you have a question, type it in the chat room. I was just over on techniques, tips, and questions, and made a shark, and also made a dolphin bead. And right now I'm going to do a silver fumed. I've already got the silver fumed, the glass silver that's already silver fumed, which I made up a long time ago. And I'm going to turn this into a dolphin tobacco pipe. If you have any questions while I work, hey Kevin, nice to see you out there. I decided that over on tips or questions and techniques wasn't a good place for the tobacco pipe, but I'm going to try this. Right? Right. So, without further ado, let's light this torch and make some stuff. Virginia, that's an interesting name. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm warming the glass in. It is stone cold at this point. Sometimes you can even, let me tilt this out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm sort of waving it in a bushy flame to start it warming up a little bit. For those of you who don't know who I am, I also have a YouTube channel that 99% of it is doing glass figurines and stuff on YouTube. The name is Libby on YouTube. But we're going to today make a silver fumed tubing dolphin tobacco pipe. Okay, for right now I'm going to put that as a punte and blow out a little bit here. Hey Joe. This should take about 10-15 minutes, maybe less, the way I work anyway. This is some tubing that I made up ahead of time. You can see that on YouTube under the name Silver Fume Tubing from Scratch. It gives it some nice swirls of color, as you can see, and it gives you something to work with, as it were. It's been a while since I've actually worked hollow tubing. I did some just a little while ago, but on the main front, most of the stuff I've been doing is solid. But we'll make something out of this. First I'll make a nice banana shape, and that's going to be the main body of the dolphin. If you have questions while you're watching, just type it in and I'll see about answering them as I go. Again, this is homemade tubing that I made from clear glass and silver fumes, or silver, fine silver. It's not going to be a very big pipe, and I call these a stealth mode type, in that this will be sitting down like so on a table, and until you start using it, people really wouldn't know what it was. But of course the bowl will be upside down at the time, but it gets the job done. Okay, we're gonna narrow this out a little bit more and try to keep the shape of it for now. Like so. And that's going to be the main body of the ano, or the dolphin. Now, first thing I do, believe it or not, in mine, is make sure I've got throughout the whole piece. Hey, Jacob. And when you're blowing, there'll be thin parts and thick parts. And the best way I can tell you to do it is, if you got it really thin, leave it out of the flame a little bit longer, and the thin parts will cool, and the thick parts will stay hot for a little bit longer than that. Now I'm going to go ahead and make this into the nose of the dolphin. And later on, that's going to be the carb for the thing as well. Hello, Beth. Glad to see people are showing up. We'll see what we can do. Narrow it out a little bit more and straighten it out a little bit more. So I try to get most of the inside tubing the way I like it, and then start blowing the holes. So that's the basic shape for this. Hold on, I got a message coming in. I got to tell somebody something real quick. Give it about an hour and come on by. Okay, now back to this guy. Sorry about that, folks. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Dan. You miss melting glass? Yeah, I understand that principle. I used to work at a place where I never got a chance, and then every time I did get back to doing it, it was like scratching that itch inside that cast where you had a broken bone or something and you couldn't get to the itch, and then finally when you could get to the itch, it was like, oh yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and make that part of it because I can. Make sure you seal these in pretty well. That's one thing I like about a Carlisle, is that you can go from multi-flame to single flame fairly simply and work its magic. Now we're going to go ahead and put the bowl into this baby. Right there is where the bowl goes. Just blow a hole. Now, this is a little interesting. Now, you got that hole, and it's a little one, but now what you're going to do is heat up the glass around that hole. You're not going to heat up the hole itself. Around the hole, and as you press it and make the concave for the... oh, missed it a little bit. Okay, make sure it's a certain size, and then I go ahead and heat it all up around it, and then press. And then you got the inside bowl. And yes, it might be a little off in the center, but this is a neat trick as you heat up around it. And then you can bring the hole itself to where you want it. Okay? Now, here we go. We're going to do the outside, the bottom fins to this thing. Yes, it has a primitive look to it, but that's the way I like to do my work. And that it shows that it's crafted and it is built strong and durable. And you can see some of the thickness in that glass. I'm going to do what I call the fold and pull for these front fins. And the fold and pull is basically you pull it out, fold it over, and do the same thing until you get the shape, the size that you want, and then heat it and shape it the way you want it. Practice, practice, and more practice. Yes, I make it look easy. Yes, I've been doing it for a long time. And yes, I love playing with fire. Okay, now we're going to give it some blue eyes. I'm almost through with this guy, probably about another 3 or 4 minutes. And with that, if there's something that you would like to see me do, ask and I'll see what I can do about doing it for you. Right, right, right. Now you say, oh no, the carb is not blown out yet. This is where this will come in. This is what I'll do is I'll heat up at the spot and I'll plug up the hole that I made in the bowl. And blow it out gently. There you go. Looking good so far. I'm sort of doing that witchy flame thing. Now, if you've got these available, use them. They're basically $20. But if you don't have them, you can put a cold weld right where I'm holding it now, and it'll do the job just as well. Matter of fact, I do prefer it because I like the feel of what the cold weld can do for me. Just my preference. Any questions so far? Oh, after this I got some crushed opal from Fresh Opal Company. They are close to me. Adam Manlove is the guy who does that. And I got some crushed opal from him, and I'll show you how to encase it without putting it in a tubing in a second. I'm holding that, and hopefully that should hold itself as we go. Hi Arthur. Hi Tom. Glad to see people showing up. Now I'm going to do the back end of this dolphin and the tail to it, and we have one tobacco pipe. Yeah, I encased some opal yesterday and played with it and liked what I did, and so it never hurts to show you what I did. Pass the good energies along, as it were. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. He said that I think you're great. Your videos have inspired me and helped me so much. I hope so. That's what they're there for. When I first started back in the 80s, they had no such thing as the internet. So I had to experiment and trial and error and error and error and cuts and burns and error and cuts and burns. I'm here to help you save a little bit of time and effort and learn something from it, and also get to become a better glass blower for who you are. Now, this is one way. You can see that it's sealed. Now the idea is to get it very, very hot just in one spot. Very, very hot, and then pinch, pull. And as you pull it, it becomes thin around the edges. Okay? That whole thing is nothing but thin, and it also probably popped out, but then you come back even further and snap it or crunch it. Make sure you don't get any involved in there. You'd hate for a person to inhale that stuff. Okay, now we got a hole, and here's where the fun comes in. You sort of widen the hole with a reamer. There we go. Finish it off with the tail itself. And we're gonna probably have the same video up on YouTube later on tonight. If you could watch it from here and or from YouTube, because I have over 5,000 viewers on YouTube and almost up to 100,000 views. Well, I'm about, I think, 50,000 away from 1 million views. I've been at it since, well, going on 4 or 5 years now. Had my first chance at doing videos on YouTube with Torch Talk, the YouTube Torch Talk channel. And once I did a video with them, it was like, oh man, I'm hooked. I got to get on this, and I got to get people watching me doing this. And it's been a slow but steady process, getting people to subscribe and watch my videos. I have a few that stand out, like Simple Glass Hacks is one of them. Another one that's really weird is I do a glass mouthpiece for my blow hose, and it's very popular in Eastern countries like Vietnam and Nepal and India and places like that. Here is what it looks like, and the video is out there. And what this does is, as it hangs in your mouth, it's not sort of pulling on your upper teeth, because it goes up and then down. It puts a different perspective on what you're doing. I mean, on the mouth, so you're not. Got to warm this out a little bit, and I'm going to throw this in the oven. I also got to get this. Get it right. You know you're doing your cold seals pretty good when all you got to do is just tap it and it comes off, but it held right where you needed it to at the time. Now that's going into the oven. Now what I'm going to show you next is a little trick I've been playing with and trying to get some better idea at doing, is working with crushed opal. And a second ago I had one that I could put my hands on, and for the life of me I can't see it right now to show it to you. But I've been playing with crushed opal. Matter of fact, oops, not that one. There it is. Here's a tiny one. Gives you a little idea. You can see it. I encased it without putting it in a piece of tubing. And I'll show you that really quick of what I did. And it's fairly simple. First, you got to have some crushed opal. Duh. This is about 2 grams of it. Odds and ends, and it doesn't have to be very big, the little chunk that you're going to use. Let me find one that I'll just do it random. I'll get a little bit bigger so that you can see a little better on the... There we go. That little piece of chunk will do the trick with what I want to do. Okay? Okay. Yes, you can throw it in a piece of tubing and try to collapse it around it and get some bubbles sometimes, and this does the trick as well. Hi, Mike. Counterman, that's a good name. Now, first of all I do is take a piece of, this is boro, and I think this is about 10 mil, and you can use any size you want, especially for that size piece of glass. Piece of opal. I have to pinch this crap off the end here. First I make sort of a little bit of a Maria, make sure it's going to encase the whole piece. Press it out a little bit more. Now I get the bottom really molten, and press it in. And that encases it pretty nicely. And then you just let it sort of round into itself around the piece of... and yes, there might be a few bubbles, but I'll show you a trick there too. Pinch around it and pull. When you see a bubble or trapped air, let's take this down. Since we're only working with a little piece of opal. There we go, that's nice and encased. And oh, there's one more air trap. I think I popped it. There we go. Now just layer a little bit of clear around it, and I leave it thin and voila, yes. Oh, how'd that get in there? Pretty sure. That is Lucy. I was about to use it as clear. Sometimes you just gotta... One of the things about Lucy is it's a little bubbly in the rod itself. So just keep that in mind when you're working it. That if you pick up a clear piece of rod and you think it's a clear piece of rod and it has some bubbles in it, and you know you have Lucy as well, stop and check it with a black light if you got it handy. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of clear around this thing and leave it as is, so that the next time I come up with an idea that I want to put a opal in something, this will do two things. The opal is already encased, and it'll help you to find the bling bling surface. And sometimes that's the way opals are, is that one side is a lot blingier than the other, so that you can put the bling bling side out and the yucky side in. Let's see if I can get it closer. Of course not. Let's tilt it out a little bit and see if I get it. Where is it? That's over there. There we are. It focused for a second. It's still not doing the job. What's the matter with this thing? I gotta get it way, way over there. See if I can zoom in even further. That doesn't do a darn thing. I don't know if I tried that. Oh, come on. Anyway, you get the idea, and that will help you to find, and you can do the same idea with bigger crushed opal and chunks as well. So if you want to get into using opal, that would be a way, and without really screwing it up that much. I'm going to go ahead and just leave that sitting there. I'm cross-eyed now. Sorry about that, Brian. Yeah, me too. I was trying to get it to focus, and it just wasn't cooperating. I'll tell you what, I'll try to do a quick video in the comments below so that you guys can see what it looked like, or maybe even just a quick picture. Okay? That way I know it's going to be focused. Well, with that, I'm going to call this video quit. Thanks for being out there, guys. As always, I say carpe vitro, which means seize the glass. Let's zoom that out a little bit. Now, if there is a future video that you would like to see done, a certain animal made into a tobacco pipe, I also do them in the shape of dragons. Just trying to see if I got one handy that I can show you. Here's one. This is one of my dragon pipes. Let's put this off here. Matter of fact, let's take the whole thing out. This heat shield has saved my face more than its fair share in the last 2 years that I've had it. But this is the a dragon pipe. I also do a turtle pipe and a frog pipe, and give me an idea and I could try to make it into one. Ask and you shall receive. Carpe vitro. What that stands for, Brian, is you have the Latin word carpe diem, which means seize the day. And here we are being glass blowers, so I want you to carpe vitro. Vitro means glass in Latin, so seize the glass. So with that, hey Matt, sorry you're coming in at the last minute. I'm just about heading out of here. You can watch the video after I get out of here. Thanks for being out there. Oh, and here's another thing you can do for hollow stuff. This is a oil lamp. Let me see if I can find the wick to this guy. Of course, it's not going to be around when you want it. But the wick, the fiberglass wick, goes down in here to the reservoir, and it, of course, it looks like a hand, and fire comes out of the hand. Now, it's a wizard oil lamp that I do as well. Straight from me. If you're interested in anything in particular, talk to me, and I'll see about getting it to you, Brian. I take PayPal, and everything ships. It's pretty darn durable. I build it with me in mind. I'm a klutz to begin with. So, thanks for being out there, guys. As always, enjoy your day, and carpe vitro.